Hi everyone, and welcome back to Project No Buy, and the next installment of Why I Want What I Want, things I would regret buying, and what am I actually trying to buy when I want these things. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about books. So this one actually does feel somehow the most self-explanatory to me in terms of what we actually want when we want books. And I guess on the surface, the most obvious thing that we want when we want to buy a book or want to read a book is that knowledge, that credibility, that wisdom, expansion of our horizons, and or the escapism of a great fictional read. And so it could actually be maybe multiple facets in terms of which aspects of these we're looking for at any given time, at any given point in our desire to acquire new books or to even seek out new books to read. I know it does feel vastly different when I'm looking for a new fiction series versus the next kind of self-development book. I was going to say self-help, but that's not exactly what it always is in terms of learning and knowledge expansion. A lot of the books I have on my TBR, my to-be-read list this year, are in that realm of knowledge expansion and kind of credibility as far as the things I speak about in a public sense on this channel. I want to collect that kind of wisdom from people who've done the work in the field, done the study, so that I can support my own continued learning and my guidance of anybody out there through how I speak on here. I also don't want to be misinformed or ignorant or, willfully uninformed of certain things, as I will inevitably be guilty of that because I can't know everything, but I also can't be on the news all the time or on social media all the time. And so I'm inevitably going to be uninformed on certain things and woefully misinformed in other categories. But anyway, in the realms of wanting anything to add to my own knowledge and wisdom and credibility, I do find it helpful to remember that I as a human have all the tools that I need to survive on this planet. And I always had them from when I was born, and I will always have them until the day that I'm no longer here. And I think Braiding Sweetgrass, another book, right? How apt for a book about wanting books. Really kind of highlighted that for me. It recontextualized how I have all the knowledge I need, and or humans have all the knowledge they need. And if we just kind of listened and observed and lived in this relationship of reciprocity with the earth as well as the people that came before us or live alongside us, then we would have immediate access to anything that we actually need in order to live a good life. No human is a foreign creature on the planet Earth. And we as humans at one time did have this relationship of reciprocity with other humans and the planet. And so therefore I don't actually need any credibility from the work of others. Not that I'm trying to diminish it in any way, but it's not something that I need in terms of that impulse to buy that I kind of thought that I did before in order to make any of my ideas worth voicing or worth listening to. Again, it's great to have and it's great to share in this way. It's great to have support from other humans alongside me in this journey. And I'm not trying to dispel that or diminish that or even say that we should not be seeking that out. So please don't misunderstand me there. But as far as grappling with one's individual impulse to buy and to remain in the cycle of buying, even through sources like thrift books that seem relatively harmless and innocuous, and in support of this bookish aesthetic, book message, all the messages of books, right? Books save lives and all that. I think I've heard, I think it was Chintzia Dubois on YouTube who says that at the end of her videos. Art saves lives, books save lives, there's that too. I did add a video by the comedian Josh Johnson to my videos that inspire me list because he actually said in one of his, what is the word for comedy set? One of his times on stage, that art can save your life, but entertainment will never be your savior. And so I highly recommend watching that video actually, because I might be misquoting him even. But again, books can save your life, but they can never be your savior as far as making you live a better life and getting you to be happier with the way that you are operating on a daily basis. In conclusion, or rather before I look into some specific examples on the social medias as I've been doing in this series, In conclusion, I realized that there's no book that I can't really wait for in terms of getting it at the library, or perhaps waiting to thrift it after my no-buy period of reflection is over the next 11 months. Time is not of the essence here. There's no information that's so crucial that I don't already have as far as how to live and how to be happy as a human being. Okay, now getting into maybe the fun stuff. I actually looked at the booktok hashtag and immediately was served this photo carousel that perhaps really exemplifies what we want when we want books. So there was a photo reel that said what they see. The first series of these pictures is people reading, right? So from the outside. So as a third person who's looking at somebody reading, this is what they see, and therefore the person that you might want to be perceived as, right? If you're somebody interested in books or wanting to read more in public or whatever it is, have the image of somebody who likes books, this might be attractive to you, right? They're all women, it looks like, reading books in various spaces. And so it's kind of like, this is what a person on the outside would see if they saw you reading. And this is kind of the impression you give. And of course, these women are all kind of very aesthetically pleasing. They're in cute outfits. Some of them are on public transit. First one is on a subway or a metro or something like that. And then somebody's in a park with, again, very cute outfit. Another girl is by a window with a nice selection of plants and beautiful pots. Another girl looks to be in a bookstore. It's almost not super important what the actual books are in terms of the image that it projects, although that is an element of it as well. And then the next few photos are what readers see. And this is basically a set of panoramic landscapes, of main characters, of little kind of tunnels of mystery, perhaps, of women in crowns and swords, forests and cities and fields, you know, the lands of which you could be reading about, you know, the mysterious stories and tales and promise of wonder and escapism. And so, you know, again, we wish to be perceived as these beautiful, bookish women, perhaps, and we also wish to be transported into these magical, escapist, fairy tale, enchanting lands with powerful women characters and tunnels of mystery. There's also a couple of TikToks about bookshops that I saved here for reference, since bookshops are also very much the vibe that maybe we are searching for when we wish to acquire books for ourselves, right? A landscape of knowledge in a welcoming environment, I guess, an environment of acceptance in some ways, right? All ideas are welcome, all kind of people are welcome, therefore we don't censor anything in these books, we don't judge things, even, you know, as far as, I know there are certain authors that have done certain scandalous and horrible things that have come to light recently, but those situations aside, we don't really judge an author for what they write in a piece of literature, right? Especially a fictional piece of literature. It's a way of communicating with the human aspects within all of us. And so that kind of non-judgment, I feel like, could also be something that I want when I want to buy books. I want to be a person that's non-judgmental and kind of embody that in a way through something that I can purchase. There are other details in some of these bookstores, right? Other kind of things that match the vibe, clocks and art on the walls, and even the kind of signage that they have, even the color schemes that are there. Here's another bookshop that looks to be kind of merged with a coffee shop, perhaps, or a bar. And again, you know, this is ideal aesthetics right here. You know, everything that I could want in life is right here. A nice kind of brick-walled building. It's cozy. It's got books everywhere. You can get your coffee and a pastry. Like, that just looks extremely nice. And so it's almost that all of these kind of bookstore vibes are something I feel like I can recreate when I buy a book, even if it's from half-price books or on thrift books online. I do think it comes with the territory as far as what we think about when we think about a shelf full of books, even if our shelves are not remotely as aesthetic as those in the bookshop. I guess we can even test this out, right? We just saw the TikTok reel of what others see when they see somebody reading a book. You know, let's do a little test here. Do I look more appealing to you now? Is it working? Is this giving a different impression than say this is? Or what about this? Back to the book. And again, I do think you probably have, or I even had, looking into the viewfinder there, different judgments come up, saying I was a third person removed from myself. If I'm looking at myself with a book, or even walking around with the book under my arm as an accessory, it looks different than having a techno gadget that's not full of that whimsy, not full of those kind of cozy vibes, the kind of yellowed pages, the imagined smell of the paper, and just everything that goes with books and bookstores and book people and all of the things that come with the allure of buying yourself into that either escapism or that self-enrichment that can come with the acquisition of non-fictional knowledge. And again, back to my point of, I guess, kind of trying to de-influence, I have to return to my own bottom line of, I don't actually think it's wrong to purchase books or to certainly not to read books, right? There's a reason that libraries exist where people can get books for free. Again, that comedian Josh Johnson was talking about how they're so confident that you're not going to read the ideas in the books that they make them available to you for free. Again, it was very funny. He's coming to Omaha on tour actually, but I can't go because I have work. I have a concert. I'm actually kind of tempted to try to call off that concert cycle, but then I will take a significant hit to my livelihood because that would be a whole week of work I would have to miss because it's on one of the show nights. And if I miss a show, I just can't work that whole week because that's the whole rehearsals, we can't. Anyway, but I wish I could see him live, but maybe next time. So yeah, they make books available for free. There's libraries full of books, full of those possible stories, full of that possible self-enrichment, and the desire to read a specific book by a specific author at a specific time is something I can definitely learn to wait a little bit for and or manage in a way that corresponds with my actual reading. And maybe that's the crux of the matter, as always, reaching that at the very end of the video after a long meandering path. But maybe those of you who've seen my other videos will already have made this connection and have possibly already typed a comment about it before leaving the video without realizing that I'm going to get to this point. But being facetious here, of course. But the point is that if you buy what you actually read, and hopefully what you actually keep as well, so that you're not buying and decluttering books, then there might be no problem with your book buying habits. But if it's like me and how I was behaving with categories like makeup, clothing, and books in the past year, even as recently as last year during what was supposed to be an attempt to no-buy, then perhaps you need to reevaluate whether your consumption of bringing things in matches your actual use value of consuming in your own environment, right? In your own kind of utility value of these things, what they're designed to be used for. And this is actually a book that I haven't had the chance to read yet, so I'm kind of proving my point here. I have a to-be-read list of physical books in my very own house, and until I get through those books and have ascertained which ones I actually want to keep and donate and kind of, manage in that way, I don't need to be acquiring any new physical books. And the wonderful thing about the library is that there are more books in there than I could ever read. And they're acquiring new books too, all the time. And so there's no real reason why my acquisition of books needs to outpace the libraries, which it's definitely not, right? That's an exaggeration, but I can be on the timeline of the library. If the library is going to get a newly released book and there's going to be a 6-month wait list, then I can wait 6 months to read that new book while I still have books to read in my own house. And even after I've finished all the books in my house, while there are still other free books at the library. And so I guess that is my closing sentiment and my answer to what I want when I want books, but also how to deal with it without actually buying any more books. And with that, I guess I will bid you farewell. Thank you to those of you who stayed all the way to the end to hear the closing points and me actually getting to the point of this video. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Oh, let me know if you want books as well. This was one of the most common comments in that post when I polled about things that you want to buy, things that you struggle with the most as far as not buying them. And so let me know if you're one of those people who really likes to buy books. All right, again, bye for now. See you in the next one.